Hey guys, how's it going? This is Kelly, and I'm here to give you guys a tutorial on using Octgn. The first step would be you want to download the client, and you can get that at octgn.net. Alright, just click download, and we have two versions. We have the live and the test. The live version would be preferable. Unless you're a game developer, you probably want to be using test. So you just click download, and we'll just kind of let that download. The next step that's important is you're going to want to register in order to be able to play online. So we'll do that right now. Let's see. And let's see. You just verify a few things here. You can view our terms of service and privacy policy and agree to those and make sure that you're over 13. And then the dreaded CAPTCHA. I wonder if it wants that period. Alright, so register. Okay, so it says here that I should get an email with my verification code. Okay, here it is. It should be from Octgn and account verification. Let's see, I can just click here and have it all filled out, or I could copy paste and toss it in there and just click verify. Awesome, now I can log in. Another bit of information here is, I'll just use my normal account here, but you can log in onto the website, and there's going to be features added for that as well that we have planned. Currently, see my email and your subscription tier, and you can get subscriptions. That's kind of another bit of all of this, but we'll go back to this right now. I already have Octgn installed, so I'll just load that up here. And we wait for things to alright, so just for the sake here, log in with this guy, and everything's good. One thing to remember, when you want to log in, keep an eye on this right here, because if we have something important going on, or maybe there's an issue with the servers, you'll notice it right here. This comes off of our Twitter feed. Right here it says we're having some problems. Let's see. Okay, let's try again. So if you have problems logging in, it might be best to just exit Octgn and open it back up. Alright. Well, that's interesting. There we go. Huh. Not sure why that happened. Okay, so the first thing you're greeted with is the community chat here. One of your best first places to find help would be here. There's generally somebody in here that'll be able to help you. So you can come in here and say hello and /? for some things that you can do inside a chat. We have all the users that are in chat right here, and you can search for them like that. And this is your friends list right here. So for example, I could double click and talk to him. Okay, so besides that, oh, you also get the chat right down here, in case, for example, you're in one of these other tabs and you just want to kind of take a peek or chat, whatever. I guess since we're still in chat, I will do a chat. I'll message Brian here, and I'll say hello. And the chat acts the same way. I can also, if I want to, believe that's it. Invite. Let's see. Alec88. Okay, so now we got a multi-chat room. So if you have more than one user you want to chat, and it adds down right there, the Gag Llama 875. It uses our random name generator, so I can say hello, and it'll go in there. So I can just close out of that. Okay, so next step, options. I want to go over the fact that these exist and they should be looked at. Data directory. This is where Octgn stores kind of its bigger files. So if you have a smaller hard drive, it might make sense to pick a different drive wherever you feel is best. Windows skin for subscribers only. Seeing as I'm technically subscriber, let's see. Let's pick a skin here. Something darker. Something darker generally works best right now. So let's pick this guy. Actually, this guy. And then, oh, maybe it didn't want to pick it for me. Let's try that again here. There we go. Must have been some kind of glitch in the mainframe there. Okay, and you have the option to tile as well. So in case you have one of those little tiny squared images, you can have it tile across the entire window. You have max chat history, which means how many lines back each one of these chats can go. The more you use, the more memory it's going to use, and the slower it's going to be. So just pick something that's good for your machine. 100 is a pretty good number, so that's the one we've defaulted to. This guy right here is irrelevant anymore. This will switch to a lighter chat theme in case the dark chat theme is hard on your eyes. We have images in chat for subscribers, so if you paste a URL for an image into here, it'll display in the chat. I can show you that in a second. Alert sounds when you're whispered to, and alert sounds when somebody @s your username. I can show you those here in a second, and you can shut them off here. And then use window transparency. You'll notice in the windows here there's little curves in the window and some kind of light transparency on the edges. You can shut that off in case you have a lower end computer. And hardware rendering, you can shut that off. Generally it's not a good idea, but if you find that things are being really slow for you, it's worth shutting off and seeing if it helps. So I'll save that there. So now I got my custom background there. So one thing I'll show you is the @username. I can oops, that's not the guy I talked to. There we go. And so if he was a subscriber, then he would hear a little notification noise saying that I added him in the chat. And also images, I'll pull up a little image here. You just paste in the URL and press enter, and then if you're a subscriber, you'll see it right in the chat. We had GIF support, but it was too easy to cause other people's clients to crash with it, so we decided to take it out in favor of stability. It never actually went live. Okay, so we got those two things out of the way there. The next important piece you're going to need to worry about is the game manager. This will be the second place you want to come. So for example, you start off with this official feed, which right now is chess, dominoes, the spoils, and standard playing cards. You can click on any one of these and get some information. For example, I could install chess. So for installing a game, you just click install, and you just wait, and then it's installed. I'm going to pick a game though that has some cards to it though, like the spoils here. So boom, now I have the spoils installed. And they have the website right here you can click on and go to the site. And since I have my browser in the other window, you can't see it, but we ended up there. Another important topic here is the game feeds. Okay, so these are essentially, what these are URLs that you can use that have multiple games on them. So I'm going to pull together the development feed here and show you how to add a game feed. Okay, so this is the game feed that I use to add when developing games. Okay, so you can give it any name you want, just as long as you know, just so that you know which feed it is. I'll just call it Octgn Dev, and you just paste that guy in there. It'll look something like this. If you open this in a browser, you're just going to see XML. It's not going to be useful at all. This is the only place where it actually is useful. So I can go ahead and add that, and click on it. And here's a game that I'm actually working on right here, and I already have it installed. So. And then as far as removing a game feed, you can just do it like that for whatever reason if you don't want it anymore. And then the next piece here is card packs. So I'm going to before I jump into that, we're going to jump into the deck editor to give you a little bit of information here about that. And that's just a plugin right there. So let's say we'll do a new spoils deck. Okay. And to be honest, I don't know a lot about the game, so we're just going to kind of toss some cards together. A few pieces of information here. You can do filtering. So, for example, there's multiple sets here. You can click on a set, click search, and it'll only show you the cards that match that specific set. And you could also have multiple sets and search and say, well, is it in this set and in this set? Or sorry. And then there's also a name. I could just type in the name like cloaked and click search. And that goes for all of these here. So you get a few different options there for searching. And you can have multiple search tabs if you want. So you can have multiple things going on. We'll just do one for now. So what I'll do is drag these a little bit so I can get a better view here. We got God's autograph here. Of course we want that card. And to get that, you can double click, you can click on it and click plus. I believe you can click enter. Yep. And it'll add on there. And you can also mouse through. There's quite a few different hotkeys when you're inside of here. You can drag them where you want them to go. I want this to go here. You can drag in between. I can come in here and change the number to 10, press enter. I can plus and minus on here. I can press the delete key and delete them away. So those are a few of the hotkeys that you can use in here to make your life a little bit easier. You can just arrow up and down and find the ones that you want and click enter and go down and click enter. Okay, so that's kind of the basics of the deck editor there, and from there you would just want to save your deck. We'll put it on the desktop. Technically you default to the Octgn deck directory. I'll just put this one on the desktop. Okay, so we'll close that. You also have plugins. You can find them. There might be a couple of them out there, but we support them. Like for example, this is just a test, and it doesn't even work, but it's just an example plugin. So the next spot here is you notice that all the cards looked a little funky there. Here, I'll reload that deck here just to give you a better example. Okay, the cards looked a little bit funky, and that's because what we're using here, these ones actually don't look too bad, but if you play the spoils, you'll notice that these aren't the actual cards. So what's going on here is we use a proxy engine. So when people are developing their games, they just put in the data and a few images, and they can template it out so that all of their cards, so you have pictures for all your cards. You don't technically need card images to play your games. But what I'm going to show you here is, I'll just leave this open and minimize it, is that you can actually get card images and install those if you like as well. And so we notice here it says download the full card images here. So I'm just going to go to that website here, world's notes. Okay, I'll drag that into view here. So here we go. And this guy contains all of the images, so I'll just click that guy. Make life a little bit easier here. Okay, we'll just let that download. Okay, got that downloaded now. Now all we got to do is click Add Card Packs and click on the 08C file and open that guy up. And then that'll just install. And it shouldn't take too long. It depends on how many images are in there. Alright, so that's done. Now if we go back to our deck editor here, see, it'll actually start pulling us in the actual images. Forget, yeah, none of these had pictures before, so it's pretty slick. From what I've seen, the artwork's pretty good on these cards anyway, so it might be worth it. So yeah, if that's another question, if you're wondering where the card images go, that's how you get them and where they went. So now I got a deck. So what am I going to do? Well, the first thing I can do is I can jump in here and see if anybody's interested in playing a game. So the first thing we want to worry about here is these are the games that are currently being hosted under custom games here. If it says unknown, that means you don't have the game installed. And you can have the current status, the user that's hosting, the name that they gave it, which is arbitrary. You can call it anything you want. The version of the game and the start time. And this should generally be right depending on your clock. So, and there's also join offline games. So for example, if somebody's hosting an offline mode, which I'll show you in a second, you can type in their IP address, their port, and the specific game they're hosting and click connect. Alright, so start, the first option, you can check host on my computer. And when you do that, what that means is it's actually going to host the game on your computer. Like the server will actually be running on your computer. So that join offline game, that's how you would connect to somebody in an offline game. It doesn't show up in this list here at all. The purpose of that is, say you're playing LAN and you don't want to be online or connect to the servers or whatever. You know, there's probably a few different reasons. We don't do any kind of support though as far as how to be able to open up your ports and things like that, just because that would take away from the work that we do on troubleshooting just the server itself. And you can click game names. These little buttons right here just randomize, so it uses our name randomization stuff. So it can be a, let's see, a poser grenade, and I can pick the game name of a roached bus. Passwords, not implemented yet, but it's coming. So you'll be able to password protect your games. And you just pick the game you want and click start. But considering we're going to be doing a online game, I'm going to uncheck this here. And here's my username. And I kind of like this one here, so we use that and pick this guy and just click start. So, and what you'll be greeted with is the pre-game lobby window. And this is where people hang out before the game. So you can just sit in here and you just wait for people to join. If you see here that my game is being hosted, somebody else can click on it and click join. Few things here. We have two-sided table and one-sided table. You pick that before the game. If you have a two-sided table, there will be a line down the middle of the table, and the other person's cards will be up here and yours will be down here. But if you're playing a board game, you probably want to pick single-sided table. So it just depends on your preference. You have to check them both out and see how they are. This one here, this little letter, if you're doing a two-sided table, will determine what side of the table you're on. So, for example, if you have 4 or 8 people and you want to be on a certain side as somebody else, you would just each make sure you pick A, and the other team would all pick B, and they would be on the opposite side of the table. Let's see if that guy was interested. There we go. Cool. You can just jump in here and say hi. And then when you're ready, you just click start. And then just give it a second here and bang. So here we go. So first off, you can full screen the game, and that's F11. So we'll just have it full screen for now for fun. There's also game documents. This game doesn't have any, but some games actually have game documents, which is an HTML file that'll open up and give you kind of information about the game. You have help, which you can see about Octgn, and then there's a console for game developers. And you can change the background. Now, if you're a subscriber, you can change the background. So, since I will change the background to this, whatever this is. So now my game table looks like this. So, and then you can reset it if you like. But you can pick better images. I mean, you're obviously going to want to pick better images than that. Yeah. So here's our chat right down here. So, one of the first steps you want to do is you want to jump in and you want to load up a deck. So I'm going to go ahead and click load deck and go to the spoils. And it'll always default to the Octgn decks directory where all the games will install their pre-constructed decks. So let's pick this one. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks awesome. Okay. So we have our deck right here and we have our hand right here. And now let's jump right down here. We have a few tabs here. This is my tab and this is the other player. When he loads his deck, it'll load up in these spaces right here. And these are all his little counters. So for example, his influence, his obsession, his greed, elitism, yeah, elitism, and other ones. So, and you'll see those there, and you can modify those by clicking up and down. And looks like he just played a few cards, so I wish I knew this game. It looks so much fun. So you just mouse over these images here to get an idea of what's going on. I'll just follow his lead here, and generally when it's your turn, you'll want to I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'll just toss these out like he did. Okay, so I'll assume that this is kind of what I was supposed to do. So it's his turn. He done that by clicking the play button there. Okay. Another thing you could do is a lot of these have dice you can roll. So you can right click on the table and you have some options here. They're all different depending on what game you play, but generally they have flip a coin and some 6-sided and 20-sided dice, etc. And we have some phases as well for this game, it looks like. So I could roll a 20-sided die like he did. I rolled a 6, so he'll be the one going first. And depending on where you right click, you'll get different information. So did he draw any cards? No. So if I right click in here, I could random discard or pass control to him. Passing control of my hand to him would allow him to use the cards in my hand. Visibility would allow certain people to view your hand or not view your hand. Like for example, right here, the visibility of this is nobody, so I can't view my deck. But if I clicked everybody, then everybody would be able to see my deck and look at it. I could look at a certain amount of cards. I could pass control of my deck over to him. Also, there's some options here for cards and for the deck, and these are kind of built into the game as well. And so he says I can draw 8 cards, so I'm going to draw 8 cards. Oh, 9 I guess. And interestingly enough, I know I shuffled, but maybe I didn't shuffle. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm just showing you how to play the game here. So you can right click these as well and say, for example, play card. Drag it back to your deck, drag it out. Another option here is you can hold down space, left click and move around, so you can kind of move around the board. You can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out. You can also middle click and move around to move the mouse board if you have a wheel. Let's see, you can double click to tap. What else is interesting here that you can do? These guys, up and down. And so, for example, different games have different counters. You can you can manually modify them if you'd like as well. And we also have different, for example, these are piles, so I can collapse that guy there. So this is my deck. I can click on that, bring that back out. This is my discard pile, it looks like, and my out of game. So you can shrink those and bring those back. And put that there. Okay, so there we are. That is essentially kind of what you do and how to get started. Sorry I don't know much more about this game here, but also when people have a game card in here, you can hover over that guy and look at it. So, and the last thing that I want to do is I'll quit this game here. Make sure, yeah, okay. So I'm going to quit the game here. And the last thing that I want to make sure to show you guys, I guess we have an about screen with the version number. This is where you find that sucker. I'll get to that in a second. If you have issues, the best thing to do here is to go to our website, octgn.net. And then currently there's a big help button. You can click on that. And we have this big ugly forum that we're going to be changing here soon. But you can just log in here with your, if you don't have an account, create one using your Octgn username and password. You can log in and essentially start a new discussion if you have a problem. You can ask a question or start just a discussion if you want to just talk about things. You can do how do I, bug request, or feature request, bugs and issues, report a player, etc. And you can do that all here and we'll be able to read it. We also have announcements at the top as well, activity, so that's all good. So that's where you want to put it right there, and we'll look at it and get back to you. Also, if you're feeling adventurous, we do have repo.octgn.net, which is GitHub, and you can report your issue here. They all end up getting viewed, so it's up to you. If you don't want to make a GitHub account, you don't have to. And as far as other information, can be found on our wiki at GitHub, or just wiki.octgn.net. And we have, for example, a new user's guide, which give you a little bit more information. It looks like it's a little bit out of date there. We have how to run Octgn on non-Windows systems. This isn't with a virtual machine. This is with Wine. So this should and does work on both Linux and Mac, but it's a little bit tricky. So, and what else here? We got the chat. We got the messaging. A little bit of information. If you got the keys, that means you're the owner of the room. So I'm the owner of the lobby. If you have a $sign, that means you're a subscriber. Pretty soon those are going to actually be little icons that you can pick if you're a subscriber. And if you have the @ symbol, that means you're an admin or a moderator. And one last thing that's important. Like I mentioned that little, at the very beginning, I mentioned that little screen that showed you a few things that were coming from Twitter. So, our Twitter account, Octgn_official. Keep an eye on this. If you ever have any problems, the best thing you can do is look on here and see if we're experiencing issues. Because we'll always post it up on here if we know that there's a problem. If not, you can go and report it to in the normal spaces, like I mentioned. But this is a really good spot, so you're not posting the servers are down, you know, when we already know that the servers are down. And this will let us be able to tell you when they're going to be back up and things like that. So, okay. So besides all of that, I think that should be a good tutorial on how to get up and started with Octgn. Hopefully it wasn't too long. And if you guys all want to subscribe, and also follow us on Twitter, and also subscribe to Octgn, because we got our own subscription thing. And I keep trying to end this here, but I'll show you real quick what that's about. You can log in here, and we'll use that account that I created earlier. And you can reset your password as well. All you need to do is enter in your username. Just throwing information at you. Alright, so account and Octgn. So the image here comes from Gravatar. If you don't have one, it'll be based on your email address. So I don't technically have one, so that's my Gravatar. And those will be used eventually on profiles. But that's not what this is about. So I can reset my password here, or change my password, sorry. And if I want to add a subscription. So the nice thing about subscriptions is we talked about them a little bit earlier. I did. You get some bling next to your name, which eventually will be custom icons. You get some sounds. Oh, you even get in-game sounds, but I don't believe any of the developers have utilized that yet. But they have the ability to start adding sounds in-game as well. So subscribers get that, and subscribers also get in-chat sounds plus pictures, etc. Some of the things that I showed you, the background image changing, which is kind of slick. And to do that, you come here and you pick the provider. At some point we'd like to add PayPal, but that's kind of we're kind of not there yet. But so you can pick. We have 6 different tiers. Technically we have 7. The 7th tier you can't buy, but the first 3 here are bronze, silver, and gold. They're essentially the same price range. And then we have platinum, diamond, and master, which are a little over double the price of the first 3. The purpose of that is the last 3 are mostly, for example, if you have $8 a month and you want to say, you know what, I'd like to give Octgn $8 a month because I really enjoy it, you have the option to go ahead and do that. So if you want to give more of the options there hasn't been any decisions yet on whether or not that's going to affect any type of features in the future. It's kind of doubtful. It'll most likely be the higher up you subscribe, the better kind of badges you're going to be able to get on your profile and things like that, as well as Octgn credits, which is kind of a whole other thing. I'll get into that once that actually gets released. But so yeah, you can pick $3 a month, $9 every 3 months, $33 a year, and get a month free, and the same with the other bracket. So you can pick master and get $88 per year with a month free. I guess if you can afford it, that's what you do. And you just click subscribe. And this is all built into our site here. Well, it looks like it's built into our site, but technically we're actually going through another vendor in order to handle our payment processing. We don't store any credit card information or the most we store for the users is their username, their email, and hashed and salt version of their password, as well as their friends list and etc. But that's about all we store for you. The rest of it is stored securely through the third-party vendor. We use Recurly currently, and you can also see that we're TrustWave certified. That means we're PCI compliant, which means, you know, your credit card details are safe. We don't even store them. So, but you can see that right here. Everything's done via HTTPS, and see, we validated. In case you had any concerns, there's that right there. So you just fill the sucker out. If you have a coupon code, we run coupons every so often. Not very often though, but you can just fill all that out and subscribe. And once you do, you'll notice that there's a subscription information on your page. Grab a little coupon here so that I don't. Oh, I probably won't type anything in, but I don't want to give my credit card out in front of all of you guys. Okay, so I finished the subscription and it says it was successful, and to verify that I can just click on account again, and there we go. Master tier, $88 a year, 1 month free, and there's my email with my invoice here. So all of that right there, plus my discount of course, because I have an epic coupon. And then when you want to go ahead and cancel, you can just click cancel, and for example, my account will expire the 31st in 2014. So in 2014, all my subscription benefits will go away, May 31st. So, and there's my subscription canceled email. Wasn't planned, but it's kind of a neat little plugin. So, and then you can just click again to reactivate if you want to reactivate. So, which is pretty straightforward and pretty Pretty easy. So besides that, hopefully I can actually end it now. And yeah, go ahead and subscribe to us on Twitter, Octgn_official. Check us out on YouTube, which is Octgn official, one word. You can check us out. We have a subreddit, which is /Octgn. We have a Google Plus community, which is which you can find just by going to Google Plus and searching communities for Octgn. It's not actually, we don't actually moderate that community. It's a fan-based community, but there's a few people there. So it's maybe if you like Google Plus, it's a good place to hang out. We also, I think that's about it. I think that's about all we got right there. There's probably other various things kind of floating around on the internet, but those are kind of the main ones we keep an eye on. And I suppose besides that, I'm gonna cut it off here. And again, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask, and hopefully somebody in chat will be able to help you out. So with all of that, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it, and it really helps more than you know. And have good games.